Hi, I'm Mike from 3 Brick Friends. Today we're going to look at the downhill racetrack we've created for use at our Lego show, the Reading Brick Show, that's coming up in June. It has some fundamental problems with it. We've run it for 3 years, we've done a few kids' parties with it as well. We know what the problems are. We need to fix these problems before the track gets ruined or becomes a major problem. As you can see from this footage, there's people hanging around it with coffee cups, people step over it. We have had in the past young kids run up from the low end, trying to get up to the top end of it, running down the track. Obviously these are outdoor trainers putting footprints on the track. It's not what we want. We don't want anyone stepping on it or stepping over it. In previous years put signs around, but nobody reads the signs when it comes to these sort of things. So this time we're going to fix it once and for all. We're going to clean it up and we're going to put barriers to getting onto the track. And while we do that, we're just going to make a couple of little improvements that are going to make it better for the racing and better for us storing it and putting it together for the show. Having told you all the shortcomings of the track, the biggest issue we've got, and the thing that made us think twice about taking it to the show this year, was the fact that we use metal wheels to give the car weight and to make it run smoothly. They are an American product. They come from Tampa in Florida. It cost me a lot of money to buy them originally, and it costs a lot to import them. They're heavy because they have a couple of gram 2x6 made out of metal, and that gives it a bit of weight to get it some speed up. Plus the wheels are quite precision wheels. They spin beautifully when new, but as they get used and they get thrown back in the box and stuff like that, they get bent out of shape. So we seriously considered not taking it this year, and then we talked about it and we thought, let's try a few ideas, see if we can actually get some Lego wheels, which are far cheaper, far more available, and replace those metal wheel frames with something made out of Lego. Obviously, it has to be a like-for-like replacement. It has to work as well. The cars still have to get to the end. They have to be able to not get caught up on the central runner. And it has to be no reduction in enjoyment for the kids who are using the track. Okay, so I've made 3 potential replacements for the metal wheels. These cars are Lego sets that I've just put metal wheels on the bottom of. You can see if I spin it, they've got a lot of rattle to them nowadays. And that's purely because they get used and abused by people. They cost me an absolute fortune to import from the US, but I'm not going to do that anymore because it's just a waste of money and a real problem to us. What I'm going to do is replace them with Lego wheels, and these are the 3 options I've got. Now, these guys, I'm aware, are a little bit wide for the track. I suspect if you put 2 of them next to each other, they're not going to fit on the track. But we'll give them a go. They're all using the same base, they're all using the same weight, effectively, so we'll see which one is the most efficient out of these. Got this one is literally on a Technic pin. There's a wheel, nice running free, but it is tyres. This one has no tyres, it's just the wheel hub. Now, I think the tyres might be worse, even though you think they're going to be better. I think they might be worse because on our track we have an internal beam that goes down here that runs to keep it in a straight line, and I think the tyres under here may well rub on that beam as it goes down and vibrates a little bit, and that will slow it down. So I think the tyres are a mistake, but obviously if you take tyres off that, the wheels aren't going to be big enough because of that ridge. This one, interesting concept. Nice wheels, I reckon we'll give that a go as well. Gonna look strange, I think, maybe. Take a special type of car to pull off that sort of wheel, but it is about making a functional racetrack, not necessarily my problem what the design of the cars are for the kids who have to build them. Okay, I'm going to run the 2 cars that have the metal wheels that we've been using for the last few years. Make a note of actually how loud it is. The metal, plastic and MDF really do create a noise. I'm hoping the tyre versions will be quieter. I'll film it on 3 different cameras so that we can see them going down, because panning around at this speed is not going to be easy. Okay, we'll run the other 3 cars now, the new 3 cars, see how they perform. So that performs well, except the wheels are too wide for the track, so that's out. Okay, so as you can see, the one with the larger rubber tyres does knock a bit and doesn't quite get to the end. Actually, the thin wheels really do perform well. I think they're the winner. Okay, so this is the big Bricklink parcel where I ordered most of my wheels from. They came from Germany. I'm in the UK. Took a while, had to pay a massive amount of import tax on it and fees and stuff. But in the end, I think it was probably cheaper than buying it in the UK just because of the quantity. I have been buying other wheels and tyres in the UK where I can, but they're all in small quantities of 10 and 20 and things like that. So obviously you have to pay postage on that. Getting one bulk and paying the postage on it is much better. So we'll see what they've done. There's a couple of other things in here. I've got a couple of Disney poly bags just because I don't have those mini dolls for future projects. Got that guy as well. He's quite cool. Much cheaper than he would be if I'd bought him in a blind bag. Right, so yeah, these are the main tyres in a nice blue. It's going to go well themed with our downhill track. I bought some Santa wheels with them. The majority were in black, so I got the majority. I've got some grey as well. I have another bag of grey over here that I've been collecting, as I say. So that's that. Got some axles because we need axles for this project. And these are the frames that are going to be used to hold the wheels onto the rest of the Lego model. They're 6 wide, so they will match the 6 wide that we are replacing with the metal wheels. So that's a big quantity. So yeah, so these guys, out of the way, have come through. It doesn't look that many, but there's actually quite a lot. 164. I've got about 200 there as well. We should be okay for wheels, which is the biggest problem we're having with the downhill track. I showed you earlier the rattly wheel as it goes round. When you buy them brand new, they're beautifully precision, they run brilliantly, but as they get used, as they get abused by kids that don't really care about the value in them, as it were, because they're just there to enjoy themselves, they start to reduce, and you can bend them back in place, but absolutely never as good as they were when they were new. Plus they're really expensive. So some of the little improvements we're making include putting a couple of little notches out of the connections between the 3 sections of track so that there is no knock when a car goes past that guideline really closely. It's just a small thing, but hopefully it'll add to the flow of the car down the track. Erica's sanding down the top surface, which is the only surface which gets footprints on it. Obviously the trainers are the kids who run up the track and step on it. They're only really touching that guide runner, they're not touching the track surface that the cars run on. So sanding that down does not reduce or increase the friction the car's going down. And hopefully now there will be no one stepping on it, therefore we'll only have to do this once. We took the decision to go from 3 sections. It was over 8 meters long. So we've gone and taken one section away because quite often the cars don't get to the end anyway. While we're redoing it, it gets kicked a bit by people who walk up to pick up their cars, so we're just going to give it a repaint. It's a slightly different paint, it's got a little bit of a shimmer to it, but we're just going to go around and give it a paint. Here's a new pad for the end. It had a bit of pipe lagging, silver pipe lagging insulation on it. I've got myself a proper pad now, and that won't get marked when cars hit it at force. And the other big change is we've got this frame. So the frame on one side is going to hold banners, and the frame on the front is going to be very low, but a deterrent for people stepping on the track. Obviously they cannot step over the track anymore because the barrier on the back is 90 centimeters high. So that stops any interaction across the track, hopefully. We're finishing it off by putting some lane numbering at the start line and then this checkered finish line. So it's all complete, put together. Gonna give it a quick test with the new car that Holly created, see how it runs, see if it can compete against the metal wheel version that we started with at the beginning.
3,
so let's do it.
1, go!
Okay, as you see, it just won. We ran it a couple of times off camera after that, it just lost. It's very similar. It's got a similar sort of hit rate, about the same distance, about the same speed. Really pleased with it. Obviously these are replaceable pieces. They're still in production by Lego. We can buy up loads of them over the time period. As things get worn, lost and stolen, we can replace them. I'm really pleased at how it's turned out. I think it looks great. It's awesome to have a background in there, because sometimes when you take photos of cars on the track or video of cars on the track, it just looks a bit rubbish because you've got all that floor around the place. It's such a thin track to get in a photo. So hopefully by having the colourful banner in the background and the frames and stuff, it makes it look much more like something significant. So I'm really pleased how it's turned out, really pleased how the wheels have turned out. I'm pleased to say we've got 200 sets of wheels now, so there's not going to be any issue at the show. So if you want to come down and have a bit of a play on this track, get some tickets to the Reading Brick Show. Thanks for watching this video. You take care. Goodbye.